Okay, it's the 8th of Jan. It's a Wednesday, midweek. Um, just check sound. I think we're good. Yeah, okay, we've got about just over 30 minutes to the NY Open. Um, yeah, just about 30 minutes to the NY Open. We're gonna get to the charts in a second. Let me just, yeah, we're good. Yeah. Okay. All right, it's midweek. Let's take a look at, before we look at the daily time frame, let's just look at the calendar today. Okay, so today we've got news in about 45 minutes from now. So that's plenty of time to do our analysis and prep work. Plenty of time, right? Usually takes us about 35 minutes. So you've got 45 minutes until news. Until then, I'm not going to be looking to take any trades. And as I said yesterday, I'm going to try to ease into the market. Having said that, I did take a trade yesterday, and I'll show you guys exactly the trade that I took. It's the exact trade that I explained just before the session ended, right? Um, it was a sell trade, and I said wait for M30 resistance to form, and then look to take the trade, and that's the trade that I took. Um, Okay, before we get into that, before we do the recap, before we do yesterday's recap, let's look at the daily time frame and let's see what price has done yesterday. Um, okay, so we've daily supports formed, right? We have daily support has formed, and it's formed just above this weekly support, right? That's daily support. You have a bearish candle, and then you have a bullish candle close, right? So we've formed daily support, which means we are the high time frame has created daily support, which means price is trying to push up. We've rejecting 2650, but we are bullish, right? Because we've created support. We've grabbed liquidity from this daily demand level. If you remember yesterday, if you were here yesterday, then I explained that this is a liquidity wick or a liquidity grab, where price grabbed liquidity from this daily demand level and pushed up and closed above 2633. That was the previous day. And yesterday, we didn't come back below that, right? So we created a support, daily support. We grabbed, I think, liquidity from 2633 again. So I think probably in the Asian session, and we closed. We had a bullish close just under 2650. So it's very likely that price is going to continue to push up, at least maybe today or tomorrow. I don't know if that's going to be today, but the momentum is the price is pushing up, right? That's the trajectory that we're heading up. And it's very likely that this daily wick is going to get filled when price heads up, right? Now, I don't know if that's going to happen today or tomorrow, but we do have a couple of news events today. They're not very important news events, but they could bring volume to just get price over the line of 2650, right? Let's go to our trading chart. Now, I do this every day before I start drawing the zones. I do a quick recap of what we discussed the previous day when we ended the stream, just before ending the stream. So I said, I said it very clearly. I said this over and over again. I think if you look at, if you go back to yesterday's stream and watch the time, I think 1 hour 35 minutes into the stream, that's, I precisely remember saying this over and over again. 1 hour 30, I think about roughly about 1 hour 35 minutes into the stream, I said that if you want to take a sell, wait for M30 resistance to form. Don't take a trade until M30 resistance forms. So, and that's when I ended the stream. And soon after that, I think maybe about 15 minutes after that or so, M30 resistance was formed here. So I waited for this candle to close. Once it closes, now there is confirmation, right? M30 confirmation, time frame confirmation that price could go down. There is no guarantee, but that price could go down. Remember that this is a high liquidity zone. We've got the high liquidity zone label right here. This is what we had marked, right? And that light pink area is a high liquidity candle, right? That's what we had marked. Now, I was not anticipating that candle to have volume. Price did break through it, went right through it, but it came back down and we closed the M30. We formed M30 resistance and we closed M30 bearish candle. Once that candle closed, so this candle closed at 16:30 IC market server time. If you go down to the 15-minute time frame after that, now I'll show you, I mean, I do this, shown this many times, but I'll show you how I draw my fib. So this was the close of the candle M30. This is the M15 time frame, but this is where the M30 candle closed, right? This is the M15, but that's where the M30 candle closed, right? On the M15 time frame. So as soon as I saw that, I draw the fib here, and the fib has to be drawn. I need to see two previous M15 highs being broken. So this candle broke this side, this candle broke this side. Draw the fib, placed entry at 2662.07, and I placed another entry at 2663.17. That one didn't get triggered, but the one here got triggered, and that was a great RR trade. And where do you take your TPs? At the next liquidity point. What's the next liquidity point? If you remember this, these are the liquidity areas, right? Take a screenshot of this chart. These are the liquidity areas. So here, sorry, 2650, it's a big round number, right? That's the next liquidity area, okay? Or the EMAs, right? Either of them. So I got out, I think I took partial TP around here, and I took a bit more down here. So that was a fairly decent RR trade. I had about a 22, 23, I think 23 pip stop loss, and came down here. That was about 120 pips, and further down about 150 pips in total, right? So that's the kind of trades that I wait for. I want to take high RR trades. I don't like taking, negative RR trades. I don't look for the RR per se, but the trade setup that I look for automatically provides high RR trades. Okay, right. Enough talking. Let's go get to the zones, today's zones. Let me get rid of all of that. Okay, so price on the 4 hours, it's not done anything. Since yesterday, right? We're still ranging between those areas that we drew, okay? It's very ugly. We've just ranged here. Our price is just ranging at 2650 at the BRN. We're just bouncing off that 2650 up and down, okay? So we're gonna have to, let me just move all of this. Let's get rid of, this. Let's keep that. Price hasn't come there, so let me keep that. Yeah, so I'm not going to redraw these zones, right? These were drawn yesterday. Price is just ranged in a 140 pip, 150 pip range. It's just ranged since yesterday. So it's neither gone to the extreme supply zone that we've drawn here or to the demand zone below. So I'm going to keep those zones as it is. I'm just going to extend them to the right. Okay, but before we do that, let's look at supply. Now, this zone is there. Price hasn't broken through it. So we're going to have to redraw that zone for today, but we'll have to adjust it. I'll explain. Okay, so that's the high, that's the supply zone that we had. Price has come into it. So now we'll have to go down. We can do that because that's a rally and a drop here. There is no base in candle. You have a 4-hour leg in or a rally, and you have a leg out or a drop, a rally and a drop. No base in candle in the middle. So if you have no base in candle and you want to draw it on the 4-hour time frame, this is how you draw your supply zone, right? at the high of this candle, and you start at the base of this candle or the open of this candle to the high of that candle. Now, the reason I've extended high is because I'm including that supply zone as well, the one that we drew yesterday, okay? Because price hasn't broken through it yet. But let's go down to the 1 hour and see if we can refine that zone and find a base in candle. Yeah, there is a base in candle right there. Now you see a rally, a base in candle. Now the reason this is a base in candle is this should have, I think, more collective wick than body. That's about 29 pips. That's about roughly about 6 pips. So yeah, 35 pips. Let's see how much that body is. The body is larger, 36. They're almost even. Probably go down to the 30-minute. It's the same. Yeah, so it's on the 30 minutes it's clearer. So that's the that's the zone, the close of that candle. Okay, so you have a rally, 3 base-in candles. All of these candles have bigger wicks than they have bodies. So those 3 candles and then the drop. Okay, so let's put in the numbers there. The close is 58.67, 58.67. And this high is 50. 65.36. I think that's correct. Yeah. Okay. So that's the closest supply zone, right? So let's bring this label up here. Now, demand. Now we have to adjust this demand because we have all of this will be considered as a base now, right? Not just this bit. We have to adjust it from yesterday because that'll be your drop, and all of these candles are in one range. From there, it's a fairly large area. It's about a 200 and nearly 300 pip zone. That's all demand. Okay, so I'm going to extend that there. And the reason for that is because they're all in a single, they're all next to each other, all these candles, right? That candle has gone right through it. That candle is a part of the base as well. So all of that, okay? And you can see how price tapped it and pushed up. So that is confirming that this area is a demand area, okay? Let's just move this here. That's the highest body. The close is 452, 454, yeah. 454. Okay. Right. These I'll just extend these to the right. Just give me a second. Yeah. Okay, so I extended that demand zone. Now that is about 400 pips away from current price. That should be fine. Just like yesterday, I don't think price is going to go 500 or 600 pips today to the downside. Let's extend this also to the right. These zones were explained yesterday. I don't want to redraw them, waste time and redraw them. You can watch the first 30 minutes of yesterday's stream if you want to see how those zones are drawn. I've not changed anything. Those zones are exactly the way it was drawn. I explained it yesterday very clearly, I think in the first 30 minutes. So if you watch that, then you'll understand. I'm not going to get back to this, right? I'm not going to go and explain all of that again later. I'm not going to do that now. Okay, so let's extend all of this to the right because price doesn't come there, right? So it doesn't make sense in me deleting this and then starting afresh again. Makes no sense because price, I did all of this yesterday and price hasn't got there. So to the upside, we've covered about 420 pips, and to the downside also we've covered about 500 pips. So that should be good enough, right? We can extend this also. Okay, that is also should be clear. That's a rally. You can see, let me just explain this zone here. There's a rally here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 basin candles and a drop, right? The reason I start here, you can also start the base here, but the reason I started the base here is because all of these candles, just like below there, like I explained, are in a single range. They're in a range, right? They're all side by side. When I say range, I mean side. They're all side by side, right? They're perfectly stacked side by side, right? So similar to this, they're all stacked here, right? So that is why that's a base, right? So when candles are stacked together in a range, that generally is your base. That's where, so you start from the highest body to the lowest wick when you're drawing demand, and when you're drawing supply, the lowest body, right? So for example, here, the lowest body to the highest wick. That's your supply. Lowest body to highest wick, and when you're drawing demand, the highest body to the lowest wick. Okay, pretty straightforward. Okay, now we have the closest supply zone. Let's extend this to the right as well. That is yesterday's liquidity candle. Price hasn't got there yet. Okay, and this one too. Okay, good. Just save this. All right. I want to take a closer inspection at this area. There are wicks there. There is 4-hour support form there. So let's take a look at this area, maybe on the 1-hour time frame, because we just ranged. It's really ugly, right? But we have to look at that area and see what price has done. We have a wick that has grabbed liquidity from this demand zone, pushed up, come down, created demand, push back, push back up again. There is demand there. That's a drop, 2 basin candles, and a rally. So we've created H4 support. We've also created H4 demand here. So we can't ignore it. I gotta. Okay, we can't ignore it. Yeah, so I have to consider this as the leg in, base, and the leg out, right? Even though price might come through this, I still have to draw it on the, you have to draw it. If you see anything that looks like, anything that looks like demand, remember is demand, right? If it looks like demand, then draw it, don't ignore it, right? So we have to put in the values there as well. The open 49.22 and that low is 224. 49.22, 224. Okay. Now, since we have this demand here, we have to readjust the zone, come down a bit. Low 42.24. 42. Yeah, did that make sense? Because I don't want to have zones overlapping each other. So I brought this demand zone because price has already tapped into it, right? So when you have a wick or you have a candle come into a zone, that means price has tapped into that zone. So then it doesn't make sense to draw that area again. So I brought the level a little down. I brought the level down to the area that it hasn't tapped yet. Right, so there is demand here. We can't ignore this. And that demand has formed exactly at 2650. So you got to keep that in mind. Price might just continue to push up from here. Just like yesterday, we grab liquidity from 2650 and we push up. Okay. So now this is the closest demand level and this is the closest supply level, right? So we're in a very tight range, in about a 90 pip range. It's very ugly. Okay, next thing on the list, we've done this. We've identified supply demand zones for the New York session. Next step is this. Out of those zones, identify which ones are high liquidity zones and which ones are not, right? So did this zone, let's start with demand, did this zone take out an opposing demand, opposing supply zone? We'll have to go down to the 1 hour to check that, right? Has it taken out? No, there is supply here. You have a rally, you have a base and a drop, but price hasn't gone above this wick. So this is not a high liquidity zone, but 2650 is there. You got to keep that in mind. That's a liquidity, that's an area of liquidity. It's a BRN, a big round number or a psychological round number. It's an area of liquidity, point number 2. Yeah, so you got to keep that in mind. Okay, but this is not a high liquidity zone. Fine. Let's look at the supply level above. Has this taken out any demand on the way down? Again, go to the 1 hour. Is that demand? No, it's not. No. Well, it's a pause. Yeah, it has. That's demand right there. That's a rally, a base, and a rally, right? It's clear on the 30-minute. Also somewhat clear on the 1 hour. So rally, a base in candle, and a rally. That's why there is a pause there, because price paused at 2650. So that's a base. That's a base in candle. And this move down took out that, right? So making this a high liquidity zone. So let's move this label from yesterday. Let's move it. Let's call that zone. The new one that we drew is also a high liquidity zone. Okay, and this one is not. Okay, fine. Now we've identified our high liquidity zones. Let's clean up the chart a bit, and then go to our next step. Right. The next step is identifying a high liquidity. We've done this. We've done this. Now we've done this. We've done this. We've done this. Now we identify a high liquidity candle in our zones, right? Inside, we're still in supply. Inside that, our supply demand zones, we identify a HLC, a high liquidity candle. Okay, yeah. So again, let me just save this so I don't. Okay. Now, let's start here because price is closest to the demand level. For price has already tapped the zone. We've already tapped this zone, right? This candle. So that's the 4-hour zone. Price has come down, grabbed liquidity, and is trying to push up. So if you go to the 1 hour, it's trying to close a bullish candle. And 2650 is right there. So this is a very important area of liquidity. Remember always these 5 areas, right? It's a big round number. It's an important area of liquidity where price creates liquidity there. Okay. So is there a liquidity candle, or has price already touched the liquidity candle to continue up? So we're going to take a look at that. We've got about 10 minutes for the NY open. That's fine. Let's look at the 1 hour. There's nothing on the 1 hour except for this candle right here. That's the largest candle. That's a 40 pip candle. And that's a doji. That's a 35 pip candle. And that's a liquidity. That's a liquidity wick. All right. That's 54 pips. I'm going to mark that wick. Okay. I'm going to mark this wick out. You see these wicks, right? A big wick in a range like this that stands out means price has grabbed liquidity, just like it's doing here, right? Exactly like it's doing here, right? And it happened in the NY session yesterday, so that's an important time. Look at that inside my trading hours. It happened. So let's just change the color of that. Okay, let's go down a time frame. Still a wick there. Nothing else. Go down to 15-minute time frame. Still a wick there. It's a 63 pip wick, right? Yeah, let's go down to the 5-minute time frame. Okay, that's better. Now, things get a lot more clearer, right? This is why you need to go down time frames to find that liquidity candle that price is reacting to, or price could react to. Look at that candle right there. 47 pip, 48 pip candle. That's the largest candle, the largest bullish candle in the area, and it's right at that wick. So now I can comfortably bring, that is the liquidity candle, right? And where is price reacting? Right at that, the middle of that liquidity candle, and it's pushing up. So we'll put the values on that. 887412. Okay. Okay. So that's the liquidity candle, right? And to push price up. Now, let's look further down. The next zone. Is there, now this is, I said this yesterday, when your zones are very big like this is a 270 pips, 75, 270 pip zone. You could have sometimes two liquidity candles. It's rare, but it could happen, right? We had identified one yesterday. It was again at that wick. It was this 1 hour candle that stood out, and we came down and we identified it again on the 5-minute time frame. It's that candle. But we got to inspect this area further to see if there is another liquidity candle, right? This candle right here, it's a 104 pip candle, 73. $103 pip candle. That's the largest one. Yeah, we're gonna mark that out. This candle right here. It's possible that price can grab liquidity from this candle and then push up, and it's right at weekly support. That liquidity candle is right at in the middle of weekly support, 2633, right? So let's look at the 5-minute time frame and see if '59, '74, '67. Yeah, 15-minute time frame. 482, 437. 482, 437. Okay, now again, the reason for this is there are two possible liquidity candles in this is because the zone's really wide, right? Now usually you don't get zones. If you look at these zones are not as wide as that zone, right? That's a 250, 275 pip zone, right? So these zones are maybe 1/3 of that or 1/4 of the half of that, right? So you'll find in that case you'll find only one liquidity candle, right? But if the zone's very wide, then it's likely that there could possibly, everything is not certain in trading, everything is a possibility or a probability. There could possibly be two liquidity candles. Okay, right. We've got our two liquidity candles here, one here, and do we need to come further down and have a look at it? Maybe, yeah, maybe do, maybe not. Sorry, 1 second. Yeah. Okay. Right. So now the liquidity candles to the downside are covered. I don't think price is going to come down all the way here, 470 pips, because it has to get through all of this. It has to get through that. It has to get through weekly SR. It has to get through this liquidity candle to be able to come all the way down. So that's not going to happen in the next 2 hours. That's my trading hours. That's when so for the next 2 hours, I don't think price is going to come down for 400 or 500 pips. Yeah. Okay, we've got about 4 minutes to the New York Open, but we're waiting for news. We're not going to do anything until news. Now, let's look at supply. All right, we've got a zone here that we had marked early on. That zone right there. Let's look at the, let's see if there is a, if price can push back down from here, right? Is there a liquidity candle here that can push price back down? There is a wick there. Just to check on the 1 hour. Got that candle, that's a 71 pip candle, and there's this candle, 72 pip, but price has gone above it yesterday. So let's go down to the 30-minute, and there is this candle, which is a 56 pip candle. This candle is outside the zone. Let's go down to the 15-minute. There is this candle, but price has already broken above it. And that candle is 42 pips, and this is also 42 pips. So interesting. Let's go down to the 5-minute. Okay, we're gonna have, these is too close to call. We'll have to do the numbers on this. Okay, so 4.2. 4.17, 4.2, 4.17. So it's this candle, but price has gone. Okay, so this means that it's unlikely that there is liquidity here, right? We're going to go straight through. We're going to break this and go up to that zone right there. Okay. This zone, there isn't liquidity here. This is the largest candle out of these two, but price has broken above this high already, right? So it's unlikely that this price pushes back down. Price is definitely breaking this high. There is no liquidity, there is no wick, there is no top wick on this candle. So price is definitely going above to break this high, right? Now the question is, if it breaks the high, is it going to continue, or is this candle going to push price down again? All right, this candle going to push price down again. Yeah. So 15-minute. It's also this candle right here, right? This 53 pips. That is 42. Yeah, I'm going to mark that. Let's mark that candle. Let's mark that candle. It's better, it's safer always to mark it if you see it. 283.863. 283.863. Okay, so that candle, so let me explain why I marked it, right? Even though it's broken the high. We broke the high, but it still held price and pushed it down, right? This candle held price and pushed it down. Also, that candle aligns on the left. If you look to the left, aligns perfectly with this liquidity grab, this candle right here, right? They're parallel to each other, right? Exactly parallel to each other, and they're the similar size, right? So price could come up and push back down again. So I'm gonna keep that. Okay, the NY session just opened. Right now, we are pushing up. Pushing up. This is 14. We have had only one break so far. So price has broken. This candle has broken only this low. Hasn't broken any other lows. This is when I start to look for my. I start looking for my 15-minute candle structure. If I'm to take buys, sorry. If I'm to take buys, I start looking for my 15-minute structure from this point onwards. So I see market server time 1400 hours onwards. That to the right is when I start looking for my structure. So this candle didn't break any lows, but this candle broke this low. That's only a single low break. I need to have two low breaks to be able to draw my fib, right? So if I'm going to take buys, then I need an M15 candle to break another low to draw my fib so that I can take buys. Okay. So we've got about 12 minutes to news. So we're going to wait for 12 minutes for news. Yeah, that's the analysis for the New York session, right? That's the prep work. So the idea is, as I said, price is very bullish. We could continue up. It could go through this area, right? This is not a very strong liquidity area, even though I've marked it. So if it breaks this high, then it's going to this liquidity area. If it breaks this, where is it going next? To this liquidity area, right? That's how price travels. So once it finds enough liquidity at either of these, then it'll move in the opposite direction. That's all that price does. Okay, so you just have to wait for your candle confirmations at these areas to see if there's a trade for you, right? So there are two things in this. Number one, the reason I do this, all of this, is because when I have, this is like a map, like a road map. I know where price is going, right? I'm not 100% certain. There's no 100% certainty in trading, but I have a clear plan or a clear roadmap to where price is going. Once I do my high time frame or my daily time frame analysis, this is a very, you can say a very macro level of understanding how where price is moving, right? So I don't consider this. I don't take. I don't consider this into my when I'm trying to take a trade, right? That's what I mean. I don't. But I need to have an idea of where price could be heading. So I know on the high time frame, on the daily, we are heading towards 2673. That's a general idea, right? Now, based on that, I'm not going to just jump in and take a trade, right? A lot of other things have to happen. So that is why from the daily, I go down to the 4 hours and we've drawn our zones. Now that we draw our zones and we've marked high liquidity candles and high liquidity zones, now I know where price is kind of heading to, right? It's grab liquidity from this area. You can see from that candle that we marked on the 5-minute time frame, price perfectly grab liquidity from there, and it's heading towards this light pink area next. If it doesn't find enough liquidity here to push price down, where is it going next? Here. If that doesn't have enough liquidity to push price down, we've got 2673. Remember, that's weekly resistance, so it could grab liquidity from that and head down. And if that's not enough to push price down, it'll go higher to this light red area to grab liquidity. Okay, once it has enough orders, once it's collected enough liquidity, it'll go the other way. That's it. Okay, so now I would like to have taken buys, but I don't have my setup like yesterday, right? I explained this at the beginning of the stream. I said I wait for M30 resistance to form. I said it like maybe 10 times. yesterday. Wait, so M30 resistance did form here. You can see this M30 bearish candle. When you have a bullish candle and then a bearish candle here, that's M30 resistance created right there. Okay, I said wait for that candle to close, then look for an entry, however you trade. The way that I trade is basically once that candle closed, and this was the close of the candle, this is the candle close, then I look for M2, M15 highs that would have broken in the past, right? So the closest one. So this one broke. So when this candle closed, this was the most recent high that was broken, and the previous one broke this. So then I just draw my fib, right, from here to here, and then price came back. I placed a sell limit order here and here. It got activated and price dropped down, right? And that's the exact same thing I would want to do today, right? So if I'm buying, I want to see two M15 lows being taken out. I have one. This has taken out this, right? But I need to have one more. I need to see one more so that I can draw my fib just like I drew it here, right? If I don't have that, then I can't draw the fib. And if I can't draw the fib, then I don't have an entry. The way I trade, I don't have an entry. There might be a trade entry for somebody else, that's fine, but I don't have a trade, right? And that's fine. There are many days of the week that I don't have a trade, and I'm absolutely fine with that because there's a certain way that I trade, a certain rules that I follow, and those are not going to change, right? I have very strict rules. A certain criteria has to be met for me to be able to take a trade. So got news in about 7 minutes from now. So let's see. Let's see what happens. Yeah. Okay, I'll be back in a couple of minutes, just 2, 3 minutes. We've got about 6.5 minutes for news. Okay. Okay, price is all it's done is it's grabbed liquidity from that 5 minute high liquidity candle that we had marked and pushed straight up, right? That's all that's happened. It grabbed liquidity in the pre-NY session, so we've pushed what 116, 117 pips so far. We're heading towards this candle, right? This candle right here, this candle that we marked. Now, question is there enough liquidity to push it back down, or we're going to break through it and go here, right? Either way, I will be waiting. I won't be doing anything because it's in the middle of these zones. I trade at the extremes. I always wait for price to either get to supply or price to get to demand, right? I don't jump in on trades when they're in a range. So we're gonna have to wait here and see what happens, how the news plays out. I think we got two back-to-back news events. Is it? There's one news event now in a minute. And then, yes, and then there is another news event, unemployment claims at 15 minutes after that, right? So we're going to wait for the first one because there is no setup. Yeah, it's going to wait. Yeah. So once you do your analysis, you just have to wait for price to come to you. That's it. There's no FOMO. Price can do whatever it wants in the middle. You just wait at your zones for price to come to you, and then wait for some sort of confirmation or candle structure, however you enter, uh, to see that to take a trade, right? Um, yeah. Okay, so this is the news. This is news. Yeah, we should continue to push up. Yeah. We haven't reached that liquidity candle yet, so we should continue high and tap that candle, tap tap this candle, right? And I said price is going to break. Yeah, I said price is going to break this high, right? I said it at the beginning of the stream when price was here. We're going to break this high. So we should easily break this high. Okay, should easily break this high and continue higher. Also keep in mind that price is above the EMAs right now, right? So we are in an uptrend. Price is above the EMAs. You can see these two EMAs on my chart. This is a 30 period moving average, exponential moving average, and this is a 60 period exponential moving average. They're both based off of the 30-minute time frame. But if I go down a time frame, it'll still show it'll still show off the 30-minute time frame, right? So even if I go down to the 5-minute, it'll still show off the 30-minute time frame. Yeah, we're pushing up. We've broken the high. We've broken this M15 high. We should continue, but there is no bottom wick on this candle. So price can always, maybe this candle or the next candle, pull back down, create a bottom wick, and then go up, right? That's always possible. When you have candles without a bottom wick, that straight off the bat pushed up, uh, the next candle can come back down, grab liquidity, and then head higher. Yeah, so we've tapped this high, have we? No, not yet. That's the M30 high that I was talking about at the beginning of the session. This one right here. We're almost there. Just about 3-4 pips away. Again, I said something similar yesterday, right? I said there was a M30 high It was this candle, right? Remember? Was it this? Yeah, this candle here, right? This candle right here. And I said when price comes up, it's going to break that high. And what did it do yesterday? Came up, broke that high, continued higher, and then dropped, right? So this comes when you, this takes a little time to be able to understand, to read price, right? It'll take a while. Because the reason I spot these candles very quickly is because I'm used to it. I'm used to seeing these candles now. And when they form, where they form. This candle formed in the New York session. That's during high volume time. No top wick during high volume time. Very likely price is going to come back on its way up and go above that. Exactly this candle in the London session, high volume time. When price went down, came up on the way up, took out that candle, went up, and then dropped down, right? So, as I said, it's not every candle. You got to take certain things into account. Uh, when was the candle formed? Where was it formed? Right? All of those things. These candles are at a supply level. So above these candles are liquidity. Right? Even above this candle, yesterday we had a high liquidity candle marked here. If you watch yesterday's stream, you'll see we had a high liquidity candle marked right here. I think it was on the 15-minute time frame or 30-minute time frame. I don't remember now, but we had a high liquidity candle mark right here. And when you have a candle mark like that, it's very likely that there's liquidity above that candle, right? That's why we had marked a high liquidity candle here, a liquidity just above that candle. So then it's very likely that price is going to come up to grab liquidity, and when it comes up, it's going to break the high, right? Same thing today. There's an M30 candle there with no top wick. Just above that is a high liquidity candle on the 50-minute time frame that we identified. And when price comes to grab liquidity, it's going to go above that candle, right? It's coming down to create that bottom wick because it opened with no top wick, with no bottom wick. There we go. Now it created a bottom wick. Now it can push up. It's created the bottom wick. Now we can push up. It needs to create a bottom wick for price to continue high, and that's exactly what. Now we created the bottom wick. Now it can push up. All right. Now you can see it pushing up. Mhm. See what it did? Came, created the bottom wick, then went and broke this high, right? Isn't that what I said? Price will come down, it needs to create a bottom wick. It did, then went broke the high. And it's heading higher. There's nothing to do, absolutely nothing to do for me at least. Nothing. This price is now back in supply. So when price is in supply, I don't buy. I have to wait for certain structure to form to look for a sell. What did I say yesterday? Exactly it's the same thing that I will repeat today. When price is in momentum, right? Now price is an uptrend. We're above the EMAs, price is an uptrend. You want to take a counter trend trade. Wait for M30 resistance to form. Do not take the first M5 or M15 bearish candle that you see. Don't do that. Wait for a higher time frame confirmation. M30 is good for session trading. If you are a day trader and you're not a intraday or intra-session trader, then you'll probably need to wait for 1 hour confirmation, right, to take the trade going down. But if you are a session trader, then M30 is a good enough time frame to take a trade to wait for confirmation. If you're a swing trader, then you'd need to wait for probably on the 4-hour time frame, or even on the 4-hour time frame at certain levels, right? It's the same thing. You just go up time frames to suit your trading style, or you come down time frames to suit your trading style. So if you're a scalper, then it's different. Then you come down time frames. But if you're a session trader, that's the only way that I know to trade. I don't know any other way to trade. And that's the reason I wait. I look at the M30 time frame and the M15. Those are my two time frames for confirmations and for entries. I enter always on the M15, only on the M15, never on any other time frame, right? I mean, almost never. I wouldn't say never, never, but almost never. 99% of the time, it's on the M15 time frame. About 90, I would say about 98% of the time, it's on the M15 time frame. There is that rare odd occasion that I might look at the M30 time frame to take an entry. Take an entry off the M30 time frame. But if I'm looking for confirmations, especially if I'm counter trend trading, then I need to see M30 support or resistance form. So if I'm going to take a sell trade here, I need to see M30 resistance form. It's no other reason. Nothing else can make me take a sell trade unless I see M30 resistance form. Just like yesterday, I need to see that form, M30 resistance form. I need to see M30 resistance form to take a trade. Okay, we've got news in about 5 minutes now again. Yeah, so it's got to wait for news. So anything after that? So no, there's nothing after that. Yeah, it's better. Friday is a big day. Friday is NFP. So maybe tomorrow volume will start coming in, probably tomorrow. It's always usually the day before volume starts to come into the market. So if you look at the daily time frame, these candles don't have a lot of volume, right? Look at this candle. That's a 380 pip candle. That's a strong move. Good enough volume. It's not great volume, but good enough. This is great volume. This is fantastic volume. 672 pips down, right? So even this is great volume. This is fantastic volume. This is great volume right here, right? But all of this, we're just kind of ranging, right? Even though we are creating some sort of structure to head up. I said this at the beginning of the session. We've created daily support here. Price is heading up. We should fill this wick. I said all of that at the beginning of the stream. If you go rewatch the stream, um, I encourage anyone interested to watch these streams as many times as you need to familiarize yourself uh, with with things that I explain about reading price. So we have daily on the daily time frame we have support form, and I said that price is going to probably go up and fill this wick, and that's exactly what's happening right now. Right? So we could fill this wick and continue higher, but no trade for me yet until I see what I want to see. Yeah. We've broken, this candle has broken this high. Yeah, the next one possibly is going to go ahead and break the next high, this candle high. That's very likely. Hmm. Yeah. The next candle should break this high and continue higher. Maybe come back for a liquidity grab and then go up. A few more seconds for news. Yeah. Been here an hour already. Okay, that's news. Here we go, liquidity grab. We're heading higher. Oh, interesting. We're heading higher. Broke a low here. Broke a low. Yeah, I can take a buy now. From here, we broke the M15 candle low, broke. I'd like price to come down and then head up. Let's take a buy here. Okay, that's one. This one broke this low, but it's very likely we could come down further and then head up, and that's fine. I'll add another position here and one here. Yeah. Okay, stop loss will be under this candle right here. And the reason for this is because I can draw my fib now, right? This one broke this low and closed. And we're heading up here. Heading up here. Yeah, this one broke. Yeah. This high is 59.36. This low is 587. 7. Okay. $61. Okay. This one 24. Now I'm gonna put this one at the BRN right here. 15-minute time frame, 30-minute, 15-minute. Interesting. Yeah, we're coming down. Price should come down and break this low. So, yeah, it should come down and break this low. This low is 51.52. 51.52. Okay. Yeah, should come down. So, I'm gonna move my entry 51, 52. Okay, I'm going to move my entry there. Okay, I've got one entry up here, that's fine. Stop loss is going to be under this candle. Safer stop loss would be under the liquidity candle, right? But I'm going to place it under this candle because I don't want to have a very big stop loss. This already is quite big, but that's okay. Um, that's okay. That was a little too hasty of me, but these would be the correct entries. 265152 and then 2650 or 264924, right? So those will be the correct entries: 2649.24, 2650 and 265152, and the stop loss would be under 2645.87, right? That would be the stop loss. And you're anticipating, so this is what you're expecting. TP levels. Let's talk TP levels. This open is 62, 2662, 2662. Okay, that's one. We should come further down. We should come and tap this bottom and then continue. If you look at the 1 hour, got 30 minutes for the 1 hour, 24 minutes for the 1 hour to close, so we should come down and then head higher. Okay, so where were we? Yeah, so that's the first one, 2662, right? Once we break 2662, we're heading to this, right? That is 2665. Okay, and then we're heading to 2672, 2672, 2672. Okay, then if you had to go further, to 682. Okay, those are possible TP levels, right? So entry would be 2652. Price did come touch it. So if you got in at an entry there, then great. You got a better entry than I did. 2652.61. Stop loss is under 2645.87. TP is 2662, 2665. These are areas that you can take partial profits at: 2662, 2665, 2672, and then final TP 2682 if we have enough legs to get there, right? But keep in mind there is weekly resistance at 2673. That is why it'll be best to take out most of your position there and maybe keep like 10% to run there. Okay, that's the idea. That's the trade idea for the day. I still think we're gonna range today a bit. We're gonna range. It's gonna take a long time to head up, right? There's not much volume. We have to fill this wick, but there isn't much volume to fill this wick. Yeah, let's just see where was his wick at. 266427. 2664. Yeah, 2665. Okay. Yeah. That's 94 pips on that trade. That's good enough. Yeah, that's a little too. was a little too quick, a little too hasty. I should have waited for price to pull back, because generally most of the time, 90% of the time, price does pull back to this optimal entry level. Now, um, I hope what I did, the way I drew the fib made sense, because I've been talking about it for the last hour. Well, I've been talking for the last hour, but I mentioned it at least 6 or 7 times, right? I said the reason I can't draw the fib when price was up here is because I don't have two M15 lows being taken out yet. I need a minimum of two to be taken out, a minimum, right? One was taken out, this one took out this, because this is where I start looking for my structure from 1400 hours IC market server time. I'm repeating everything again. From 1400 hours IC market server times when I start looking for structure. So one, this candle broke this low, but that was the only one. Then the news candle broke this low. Perfect. So draw the fib. It's a very very large fib area, but nevertheless it broke a low. So we might range come down later on and then head up, right? That's very possible, but that's okay. That is why I've just taken one very small entry there. I've placed pending orders here at 265,152. There's another pending order 2650. 2650. Yeah. And stop loss, let's just play this out. Stop loss is under 2645.87. So let's place that as well. 2645 point. Okay. It's the same stop loss on all the trades, on all the pending orders, right? And TP levels are the ones with the blue lines. Okay. And that's it. Now you wait. If price comes down, starts breaking, once it breaks this M30 low, this candle here, there's no need to hold the trade, right? You can close everything. All these pending orders, you can close them. If price breaks this M30 candle, because this M30 candle is a part of the liquidity grab. Sorry, on the 1 hour time frame, you can see the liquidity grab, right? So ideally price, sorry, not ideally, let me rephrase that. Price can come back to the liquidity grab, because this liquidity grab means price grabbed orders or liquidity from this M5 high liquidity candle that we have drawn, right? So it can come, if it didn't grab enough liquidity the first time, it can come back always, right? So this wick is very important. If it breaks this wick, obviously setup is invalid, okay? But if you want to manage risk a little further, a little better, then you can if bring your stop under this candle, under this M30 candle right here, right? Because ideally it shouldn't break this M30 candle. We should continue to head up. We should create higher highs and higher lows like we're doing right now. So after this candle closed, price went up, created a higher high, higher low. We should break the high, we should continue higher, right? Once we break this high, price should have enough volume to clear this light red area and head up. It should have enough volume. That is why I have my TP at 2665, right? Because if these don't get triggered, then I'll get out at 2665. Yeah, then 2665 is right at the top of the daily wick. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so that was the trade setup, trade entry, signal, whatever you want to call it. That is what it was for the day. And I'm not going to be here for too long, maybe another 15 minutes, maybe another 15 minutes. I'm going to keep this trade running. It's going to be slow, right? We've got NYSE open in about 45 minutes from now. So things are going to be, it's going to range a bit because we're heading into supply. So price is going to range a bit. Very likely, probably it's going to be slow for the next hour, right? And I'm not going to sit here waiting for price to pick up. I've got in my trade, I've placed my TPs, placed my stop loss, and now it's time to walk away. So for those continuing to trade for the rest of the session, now, this is what I try to do every day. Pay attention. For those who want to take sells, right, who are looking to take sells, who would like to take sells, wait for price to get up here, wherever it gets up. It should come up here, right? Here or to weekly, to the weekly SR level, to weekly resistance, 2673. Wait for it to get into these areas so it collects enough liquidity, and then wait for M30 resistance to form, and then look to take a trade according to your entry method, right? If it doesn't have enough liquidity, it might go right through this and go up here, right? So whichever way, just wait. Don't be in a rush. If you want to take buys, then I've already shared where the pending orders are, where the stop loss is, where the TP levels are, and these are levels 2652.61, 2651.52, 2650, right? Or you can even come down and take a trade at 264.49.25, right? You can place a pending order there as well, right? And price may come down there later on in the New York session, or it may not. I think it will. I think price will come down. I think price will come down. This 1 hour candle has a very little small wick, so I think price might come down again here before it heads higher. But um, it doesn't need to, because it's grabbed liquidity already, so it doesn't need to do that, but it could. If this liquidity is not enough, then it can come back to this wick. Price can come back to this wick to head higher. Okay. All right. So 15-minute candle closed bullish, heading higher. Hmm. Yeah, we're heading higher. Let's see if price breaks this, the high of the candle, this candle. If this candle breaks higher this candle, then we should head higher. Once we clear this wick, once price goes above 265,936, it should push straight through to 2665, right? Once it breaks 2659, it should head straight to 2665, which should have enough volume, because it's getting into this candle. The reason I say that is this candle has already tapped that high liquidity candle that we had marked. It's already tapped it, grabbed orders, came down, and now it's coming there for the second time. So that candle, or that candle, that high liquidity candle that we had drawn, now has less liquidity than before. Does that make sense? We had drawn it, price came up, tapped it, pushed down, tapped it. How many pips? It pushed down 78 pips, and now it's coming there for the second time. So it has less orders or less liquidity than before. I hope that makes sense, right? So once it breaks the high, it should push through to 2662 first, and then 2665. Okay. Okay, I'll be back in a few minutes. So yeah. Yeah, it's quite slow, just as I said. There's not much volume. Okay, I'm gonna end the stream. It's it's boring to sit and just watch price. Um, okay, so here's what I've done. I've placed pending orders here. I said this before: 2651, 2650, and you can also place a pending order at 2649.25. Right now, if price comes down, if you form M30 resistance here, then I might close the open trade if you form M30 resistance. Uh, and I might close the pending orders also if we form M30 resistance. If you don't form M30 resistance, I'm going to keep everything open. Does that make sense? Because I said, if you want to take sells, wait for M30 resistance to form to take a trade. So if price comes here and makes M30 resistance, I'm not going to be taking sells, but I won't keep my buys open because price can come down, I can go in drawdown, right? But if you don't make M30 resistance, then I'll leave the trades open. Stop loss will be exactly where it is, and I'll let the trade play out. If price comes down, if price suddenly pushes down, uh, I'll let it. I'll let these trades get activated. But if it breaks this candle low, this M30 candle, if price comes down and breaks this low, so this low is 2647.19, right? So let's put a red line there. Oops. 2647.19. Right. So if price comes down and breaks below 26 breaks to 2647.19, touches it or goes below it, then I'm closing everything, right? I'm not going to wait for my stop loss to get hit, right? That's it. TP levels have been shared here: 2662, 2665, 2672, and 2682, right? Unlikely we're heading to 2682, but that's the final TP anyway, all right? I mean, unlikely we're heading now in the next hour there, but for the rest of the day, it's very possible we could go there. But in the next 30 minutes, unlikely we're going to suddenly have a 30-minute candle that's about 200 pips, right? That's unlikely, but eventually that's the TP. Eventually, later on. So maybe later on today or the Asian session, or sometime tomorrow, we could head there, or even later at the latter half of the New York session today. Um, that's it. So yeah, that was today's trade idea. So we did the analysis, did the prep work. Um, we started off with the daily time frame, sharing what's the possible the macro idea for today, the broader outline of what price is doing and where price is heading. Then we did a recap of yesterday's trade, of the sell idea that I gave before the session ended, and I took the exact same trade. And then we drilled our zones, right? I drew the zones, we talked through the zones, we discussed this again, right? This was discussed in length yesterday. So if you watch the first 10 minutes of yesterday's stream, this is explained very clearly. I'll keep putting this up um, every now and then. And then I explained what price was doing, right, and where it's heading, right, and where it's going next. Okay, so we've broken the high now. We've broken this high. We've broken this high, so we should continue to head up. Okay, all right. For 3 minutes for the candle to close, uh, very likely closing bullish. We've created a higher high again and a higher low, It's unlikely that this candle is going to come down and break this low and hit down. We just got 2.5 minutes for the candle to close, so we are closing, but we should close bullish. So on the M30 time frame, we're closing uh, strong bullish, creating higher highs, higher highs, higher highs, and higher lows. Okay, and that's what we want to see when you're in a buy. That's what you want to see. You want to see price make high highs and high lows and head towards your TP. Okay, that's the ideal situation. All right, I'll be back again tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. EST. Um, we'll do the prep work and we will look for opportunities to take trades during the NY session. Now, yeah, so I said we're heading, we should, once you break, we should continue higher, and that's exactly what's happening, okay? All right. Um, yeah, so I've been here just over an hour and a half. Okay, great. See you guys tomorrow. Have a great rest of the day.